HIV virus, also known as human immunodeficiency virus. HIV virus attacks the immune system of the body, especially T cells lymphocyte. 1 to 2 years after the person being infected, the virus will destroy all the T cells lymphocyte in the body. This disables the body to defend itself against diseases and tumors. HIV virus doesn't kill the patient itself, but it can lead to serious or even fatal illness. There is no cure for HIV and AIDS now, but treatment can be used to slow the cause of the condition down. Some infected people can live a long and relative healthy lifestyle.
When the retrovirus infects a host cell, it attaches to and fuses with the cell. So the enzyme reverse transcriptase acts like a DNA polymerase which converts RNA to DNA through the process of reverse transcription. So in this process, the flow of genetic information is from RNA to DNA instead of DNA to RNA.
It directs the synthesis of second DNA strand to the first DNA strand. When the enzyme integrases, the new HIV incorporates to the host cell genome. New HIV is formed and the new copies of HIV leave the host cell and move on to infect other cells.
Have you ever wondered where did HIV come from? HIV virus actually comes from primate species, which is SIV, that it mutates to HIV virus. In 1959, the first infection of HIV virus is a male adult, which lived in Belgian Congo, which is now the Democratic Republic of Congo. How it is being transmitted? It's being transmitted through percutaneous injury, cuts, wound, and contact of mucous membrane or non-intact skin, which is exposed skin with blood, saliva, or some other body fluid which is potentially infectious.
Our body has 3 lines of defenses, the first, the second, and third. The first line of defense consists of the physical and chemical barriers, namely the skin and the stomach. The skin acts as a physical barrier that is impenetrable to bacteria, and the hydrochloric acid in the stomach destroys most of the pathogens that gain entry into the body. Sometimes the pathogens may still bypass the chemical barrier, like this. The phagocytes or white blood cells migrate to the infected area. The phagocytes then engulf the pathogens or the disease-causing microorganisms inside the phagocytes. The pathogen is destroyed by the phagocytes' digestive enzyme in the body. The third line of defense involves the immune system. It recognizes the specific pathogens and defends the body against them. These pathogens, like this, often have antigens, which are protein structures found on the structure of the surface of the pathogens, which is here. The body fights off these pathogens by creating antibodies, which are proteins found on the lymphocytes. The antibodies bind to the antigens. The interaction results in the elimination of antigens. But our bodies cannot eliminate HIV viruses from our body because we do not have specific antibodies to bind with the antigens of the HIV viruses. So HIV cannot kill.
So when HIV enters a person's body, it attacks their immune system. The immune system contains many kinds of white blood cells. When HIV will target the white blood cells called CD4 cells.
HIV gets inside to the CD4 cells and makes copy of itself. And it runs! Then HIV kills the CD4 cell and the new copies of HIV find other CD4 cell and start the cycle again.
The immune system tries to control the HIV virus by producing more CD4 cells. But eventually, the immune system can't produce the CD4 cells fast enough. So when it can't produce fast enough, the amount of HIV virus goes up, the amount of the CD4 cells goes down, which the immune system can no longer control the HIV, and the person will become sick. A person with a weak immune system will have a hard time fighting against germ, even though germ is all around us all the time. The infectious time will be much more longer and more severe, and the person which have a weak immune system might get infected more often.
Moving on to human rights and sexuality issues. First up, I will cover the gay and bisexual group of men. So they have this, due to this fear of being discriminated against by even like healthcare professionals, they are apprehensive towards seeking treatment, and many are even unaware that they have the virus. So while they only make up 2% of the US population, in 2010 they made up 57% of the US population living with HIV.
There is large and still increasing number of drug users worldwide. Approximately 230 millions of people uses drug at least once in 2010.
Puts people at high risk of HIV infection, especially women and girls.
Why?
Shut up, I'm filming.
Yeah, why?
This is because they may be involved in transactional sex to obtain material goods and earn money for a living.
Those living in poverty would tend to consume less food and taking less nutrition, which results in malnutrition. That heightens the vulnerability of HIV-infected people to opportunistic infections, bears risks of HIV-infected mothers to transmit to their babies, and even reduce effectiveness of HIV medications. Who knows?
AIDS deaths in developing countries is concentrated in the prime working age group of 25 to 46 years old, which are likely the breadwinners of their families and hence can have devastating effects of their families.
We have no more money to buy food.
Yeah lah, no money to top up my phone.
Now we have no more money for clothes.
No money to go school.
No more money for house.
No money for rental. No money to fund my car.
The treatments that are being developed include pre-exposure prophylaxis. Ta-da!
Microbicides.
And vaccines with the S behind.
Current treatment include integrase inhibitors,
Ding!
fusion inhibitors,
Ding!
protease inhibitors,
Ding!
nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors,
Ding!
and finally, non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors.
HIV virus usually infect vital cells in human immune system, such as T cells, that plays a part in protecting the body against viral disease.
When a person has HIV, he or she is more susceptible to illnesses such as cancer and other fatal diseases. This is because when that illness reaches a critical stage, the number of helper T cells in the body start to decrease. As a result, the immunity of some of that person is improvised, and that the immune system cells of the body becomes destroyed progressively.
AIDS is the final stage of HIV. The virus reproduces in the lymphocytes and destroys them in the progress. A person is symptom-free for many years, even while the virus is actively attacking his immune system. So the virus may take 8 to 10 years for it to develop and for symptoms to manifest.
Within the first few months after HIV infection, individuals may experience no symptom or flu-like symptom. This is called acute retroviral syndrome and is the body's natural response to the HIV infection. These symptoms can last from anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. You should not assume that you have HIV just because you have all these symptoms. Some people who have HIV might not show any symptoms for 10 years or more. If you think you have been exposed to HIV, get a HIV test real quick.
Through educational program, everyone should be informed that the risk of unprotected sex and sharing needles. Condoms should be used to reduce the risk of infection, and should not having sex through intercourse with numerous partners.
The virus reproduces in the lymphocytes and destroys the... Oh my god, shit.
Pain again.
What do you...
You should not assume that you have all these symptoms just because you have all these symptoms.
The health record include pre-exposure for T. This is because when a number of helper T cells in the such as cancer and other fatal what did I say? Stop.
From the top.